For those who don't know, apart from content creation, my other interest in Paladins is the esports scene. I've been involved with the scene right from the beginning, and well, I think it's about time I made more videos on it as well, as I don't see many people doing it currently. That being said, the next big tournament, and LAN tournament as well, is DreamHack Valencia, which takes place just under 2 weeks from the upload date, which is July 13 to July 15. For those who don't know, the seeding for the tournament has been announced. It is as follows. Starting from the top, working our way down. Gangstars, Seed 1 from Europe, will also be known as EU from now on. Fear Us, Seed 1 from Southeast Asia, which is also known as SEA. Team Cryptic, Seed 1 from North America, also known as NA. Denial Esports, Seed 2 from NA. District 69, Seed 2 from EU. QG Craze, Seed 1 from China. Kanga Esports, Seed 1 from Oceania, also known as OCE. And finally, Nocturnes Gaming, Seed 1 from Latin America, also known as LATAM. That's the brackets, but the individual teams were seeded as well. This is the team's ranking from top seed to the lowest seed. Gangstars, District 69, Kanga Esports, Team Cryptic, Denial Esports, Nocturnes Gaming, QG Craze, and Fear Us. When the brackets were announced, a lot, and I mean a lot, of people were not exactly happy, as the seeding frankly made no sense. Let me explain what I mean by that. Hi-Rez have used previous LAN tournaments for their seedings, and rightly so. There are no cross-server tournaments because the ping is a very big deal. LAN tournaments are the only way you can get an idea of how teams perform to each other, and with that, how regions perform to each other. So if you watched any LAN tournaments in the past, or just any in general, EU is undoubtedly the strongest region, and it's been proven in all the previous LAN tournaments with all EU winners and, more importantly, just EU finals. But then again, I am an EU fanboy, so take that with a pinch of salt. But no one is doubting that or even annoyed by that statement. The problem comes with a third seed for the tournament, Kanga Esports. While no one will deny that Kanga did indeed deserve a place at Valencia, it's interesting how they were given third seed. You see, Kanga Esport, the number 1 OCE seed, have never played against number 1 seed in NA. During the Invitationals, number 1 seed for NA was Matchpoint. In Invitationals, however, Kanga Esport faced Team Eager. Then the next LAN we had was the Masters. The number 1 seed there was Astral Authority, yet Kanga faced Team Eager yet again. So it really came as a surprise to everyone when Hi-Rez seeded Kanga above both NA teams. In both LANs prior, Kanga and the current roster of Cryptic finished tied in 3rd to 4th place. So the question remains, why did Dan, who was the senior esports manager for Hi-Rez, write this? Well, the answer for that is simple, and the logic behind it makes sense. Both Team Cryptic and Kanga have played against both European teams, and Hi-Rez have used that as the tool. Kanga, compared to Team Cryptic, have taken more games, and well, they were a lot more closely matched. That logic makes perfect sense. But the fact remains, number 1 NA seed and number 1 OCE seed have never played against each other. Maybe NA could have beaten them. Well, we don't know, and frankly, we won't this time around as well, unless both Cryptic and Kanga make it to the grand finals with the seeding arrangement. However, if previous LAN tournaments are any indicators, it's that Europe is on the either side of the brackets. And that being said, it might just be a European finals yet again. Building on from that point, now we have the brackets themselves. If you haven't noticed, the brackets work inwards. So, Seed 8 face Seed 1, Seed 7 face Seed 2, etc, etc. We haven't seen SEA, LATAM or China play nearly as much as we have NA or EU. These regions have also not had access to the game the same amount as NA or EU has. So it's also a weird choice to put Seed 8 in the world against Seed 1 in the world. Again, if past events are any indicators, then all quarterfinal games are going to be one-sided, except for one, which we will come back to later. So in the Gangstars vs Fear Us match, Gangstars should win. In District 69 vs QG Craze, it should be District 69. In Kanga vs Nocturnes Gaming, it should be Kanga Esports. I didn't mention NA matchup because that's a bit different. Cryptic and Denial have been scrimming partners for a very long time, and most games they play are very close. Cryptic wins some and then Denial wins some. ESL is where Denial seemed to shine, but in the qualifiers it was Cryptic winning the matches, which was arguably more important. But when you watch the games themselves, they are very close anyways. Sometimes one team has a bad day and the other team shines brighter and vice versa. But that's not the interesting part. But the devastating thing for NA is that when both teams finally land in Valencia, only one of them will make it to the semi-finals. The others won't even get a shot at it. See, this scenario for NA and the previous seedings leave us with an interesting dilemma. What would the viewers much prefer? A one-sided match during the quarterfinals, or a potential one-sided match during the semi-finals? With a fairer quarterfinal match, you would still get unfair matching somewhere along the tournament. So let's ask this question yet again. Would you prefer seeing a closer match during the beginning of the tournament, or would you want to see matches getting a lot closer as the tournament progresses on? Do note this, however, whatever you think of the Paladins esports scene or the game itself, it's still a growing game. The game is still in beta, no matter how much the game seems ready now, and the esports scene even more so. This is the ideal time to try out what systems work and won't work. Yes, mistakes will be made, but mistakes are not a bad thing, it's a learning experience. One thing, however, can be said for certain. All teams going to Valencia will bring their A game. Now, previous tournaments aside, no one can truly stay on top while the other teams catch up. There is a skill ceiling, and with every passing day it gets lower. I will for sure be watching the tournament with my utmost attention, and I hope you guys watch it too. I mean, you could win a sweet Maeve skin out of it. That's all for today from me on this topic, but worry not, this won't be the last. If you liked the video, then consider liking it, and if you didn't, the dislike button is right next to it. If you want more videos from me, then you can always subscribe and be the first one to know whenever I post something new. Thank you for watching, champions, and I will see you all in the next one.